They say the old highway whispers its secrets only after the sun bleeds away, and I've come to hear them. My name is Amir, and for my blog, I'm here to find the truth behind the legend, the truth of the corail of the Japanese highway. They say she's a vengeful spirit, a curse upon this road. But every story has two sides, and tonight, I'm here to film hers. The night is a thick, inky blanket, and my car is a tiny island of light in the darkness. I've parked where the sightings are most frequent, my camera rolling, waiting. The wind howls through the ancient forest lining the road, carrying whispers in the snap of unseen twigs. My heart hammers against my ribs with every strange echo. A shadow moves at the edge of my headlights. She's here. Just like the legends warned, she emerges from the trees. Her form is ethereal, her long hair obscuring a face twisted in silent rage. She floats, not walks, directly toward my car, her mouth open in a scream I can't hear but can feel in my bones. I'm paralyzed. A rabbit caught in the glare of a phantom predator. This is it. This is how it ends. But just as her ghostly fingers are about to touch my windshield, a monstrous form erupts from the pavement between us. It's huge, a hulking demon with glowing red eyes and horns curling from its head. And Oni. The corail wasn't coming for me. She was charging past me, aiming for the true monster that lurked in the shadows of her legend. A battle of spirits explodes on the asphalt. The corail, no longer a terrifying specter but a valiant guardian, clashes with the Oni. Ethereal energy cracks the air as they collide, a whirlwind of light and shadow. She moves with a ferocity I can't comprehend, a protector defending her domain against an ancient evil. With one final, earth-shattering shriek that rips through the night, the corail unleashes a wave of power. The Oni dissolves into a cloud of black, foul-smelling smoke that dissipates into the trees. She turns to me, her face no longer twisted in fury, but filled with a profound sorrow. Then, like morning mist, she fades away. I sit in my car, camera still rolling, utterly silent. The legend was wrong. She wasn't the highway's curse. She was its misunderstood protector. In the dead of night, on a desolate highway known only as Corail, a terrifying legend haunts the lonely stretch of road. They say a witch, a corail, with eyes like burning coals and a heart full of malice, preys on unsuspecting drivers. Her chilling screams echo through the darkness, and many who travel this path never return. Her tale is whispered in hushed, fearful tones, a story of pure, unexplained terror that has turned the highway into a place of nightmares. Driven by a desire to uncover the truth, a young journalist named Samir began to investigate the legend. He delved into dusty archives and unearthed forgotten newspaper clippings. His search led him to the story of a woman named Akari who had vanished decades ago. Her disappearance was linked to a tragic hit-and-run on that very highway, an accident that claimed the life of her young daughter. The official reports were cold and brief, but the whispers of the locals told a story of a mother's inconsolable grief. One moonless night, Samir decided to face the legend himself. He drove his car down the infamous Corail, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Suddenly, a figure materialized in his headlights. It was Akari, her face contorted not with malice, but with an unbearable anguish. Her ghostly form forced his car to a screeching halt. Yet, she did not attack. Instead, she raised a trembling spectral hand and pointed urgently towards the dark, forbidding woods lining the road. Hesitantly, Samir stepped out of his car, his flashlight cutting a nervous beam through the gloom. He followed the spirit's desperate gesture into the woods. There, beneath the gnarled roots of an ancient tree, he found a small, decayed wooden box. He brushed away the dirt and lifted the lid. Inside lay a child's old, worn-out music box, its metal tarnished by time and sorrow. The moment his fingers touched the box, visions flooded Samir's mind. He saw Akari and her daughter, their laughter echoing in a sunlit field as they played. He witnessed the horrifying screech of tires and the accident that tore them apart. He felt the mother's soul-crushing grief as she searched endlessly, not for revenge, but for the last precious gift she had ever given her child. Returning to the roadside, Samir gently placed the music box on the gravel, creating a small, makeshift memorial. Akari's spirit appeared one last time, the fury in her eyes replaced by a profound sadness. A gentle smile touched her lips as the peaceful spirit of her little girl materialized beside her. They held hands, two souls reunited, and faded into the night, finally at peace. The corail was never a monster. She was a mother, her love proving to be a force far stronger than death itself.
Sarah's car kicked up dust as it sped down the lonely highway, a stark contrast to the silence inside. On the passenger seat, a missing person flyer stared up at her, its crinkled surface bearing the smiling face of her younger sister, Maya. She pulled over beside a rusty pickup truck, rolling down her window to ask a grim-faced local for directions. He just grunted, pointing a gnarled finger toward a barely there turnoff. "That's the road of echoes," he warned, his voice a low rumble. "Folks who go down that road don't always come back the same." Ignoring the man's ominous words, Sarah turned onto the forgotten path. The air grew cold. In the distance, she saw them, a line of silent figures, walking with an unnatural, rhythmic gait. She fumbled for her binoculars, her hands trembling as she raised them to her eyes. The lens focused, and a gasp escaped her lips, her face contorting in horror. It was them, Maya, her face a pale, emotionless mask, and beside her, Ben. They were trapped, part of the ghostly, never-ending procession. Maya. The scream was torn from Sarah's throat as she stumbled out of her car, her voice cracking with desperation. On the haunted road, Maya's mechanical walk faltered. A single crystalline tear traced a path down her pale cheek. The other figures, including a tall, shadowy form at the head of the line, all stopped in unison. They turned their empty, dark faces toward Sarah, an army of the lost. The original watcher, a being of pure shadow, glided menacingly toward her, but at the same time, spurred by the sound of her sister's voice, Maya began to fight, her movements becoming jerky and convulsive as she tried to break free from the invisible path that bound her. Just as the watcher's shadowy hand reached for Sarah, Maya broke from the line, stumbling and collapsing onto the cracked asphalt. The connection was severed. The ghostly procession, including Ben and the Watcher, dissolved into a fine, gray mist, vanishing as if they had never been. Sarah rushed forward, helping a dazed and shaken Maya into the car before speeding away, leaving the haunted road behind. She glanced in the rearview